You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 283 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I am joined by our executive video audio engineer, producer, Zach Burcham, and a couple of guests. We're going to have on my immediate left, if you're watching the live stream, camera right, Gavin Newton, who we're going to introduce him as the high school student wonderkin who is a race car livery designer. And next to him is the NASCAR ARCA series driver, Brayton Laster, who's going to be competing in his second Speedweeks next month in Daytona. Is that all accurate?
Yes.
Does that sound right? All right.
That's pretty fair.
Very good. So this show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. We just did 15 or 20 minutes where we learned about the very unique Christmas gifts that we all received and maybe some mixed messages about them. And we had a little bit of fun with Tropical Storm Chase Elliott, Winter Storm Bill Elliott. I don't know what we call it. It was Storm Elliott and the disaster it created on Southwest Airlines. And we'll see if it actually survives. So if you want to see that, if you want to hear about that, or if you want to be a part of how this show actually gets on the air, jump on bossHogofLiberty.com, click on the support this page, Patreon, and you can check it out. Every episode gets emailed directly to you, and of course you get the Facebook live group access as well, along with the show notes, so you have an idea of what we're doing. Folks that give us $50 or more a month get recognized at the top of every episode. That includes Christy Avery of Fort Wayne, Indiana, John Phillips, Andy Moore Buick GMC, and also allegedly going to be filing his candidacy for the Newcastle City Council next week. And Anthony Meyer, trucking, basically he's a trucking diva. I heard he didn't want to take certain loads last week, so he just shut things down and hung out in Oklahoma as the winter storm came in. I think everybody has their special edition T-shirts. If you are a patron, you did get a brand new T-shirt, so those should have hit your mailbox or been delivered individually. Did I cover everything, Zach? Did I do my job?
I believe you did, yes.
I don't have Dakota. I don't have my safety net, so I get myself in trouble sometimes.
Don't worry, I'm here. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm here. So,
you're very comforting.
I got a piece of paper in front of me.
Yes.
So that's it's got some names on it, and you hit them all spot on.
You're the top of the list, Brayden. So tell me about yourself. You are 20 years old.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Does that mean you can't rent a car yet? What's the unfortunate part?
I can't get a hotel room like most states. I can't rent a car. For some odd reason, I always friend people younger than me. So it's a mixture of like racetrack friends. They're all older. So, all the weekends are going out to, certain, adult establishments, getting drinks and stuff. And I can't do that, which I'm not really big into that anyway.
Okay, well, you're 20, but you're belly aching about your age, but you get to race a NASCAR stock car at Daytona in Speedweeks.
That too.
How the hell does that happen at 20 years old?
Well, I did it last year at 19.
Okay, so how does that happen at 19? Did you win? Did you like put a quarter in the machine and win a lottery? How does this?
I mean, I to be honest, it was I think I had better odds of winning the lottery than going and doing that, because it was a very bizarre situation. We'll go ahead and tell a little bit. So I got hooked up with Mullins Racing out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. And at this point last year, right at this point, it was like December 20. It was like 2 or 3 days around Christmas, before or after, I'm not sure. My dad comes into my room and he's like, "Hey son, wake up. We got to get ready for work." And I was home from Christmas break from college, and I was working because I was a broke college student. And he's like, hey, what do you think about running the ARCA Daytona test? Because every January, ARCA goes down to Daytona for 2-3 days. And they have a open test down there. He's like, what do you think about running it? I'm like, at the time, I knew nothing of ARCA. I had no idea about the teams. I had no idea who was who.
Had you driven a car before?
Yes.
Of any sort, a stock car?
Kind of. Okay. I mean, I've driven dirt late models for the past 4 or 5 years. I've driven. So
you're like Brownstown,
yes,
Lawrenceburg?
Well, we travel a lot. We've run down Brownstown circuit, the brand new Circle City here in Indianapolis. We go down to Kentucky, Florence, Richmond, Kentucky, Ponderosa. We've gone over to Illinois, Macon, Illinois. We've run the Gateway Dirt Natties multiple times.
So you're well established in the dirt late model series, and your family has a team, I assume.
Yes.
Or, okay.
I actually build our own motors and everything. I do a lot of. I work on the car myself.
Do you know Gary and Brock Burton at all?
I know Daryl Burton.
Okay. No,
from Edinburgh. I don't know.
Yeah, these guys are from right there, right in that area. But yeah, Gary, from the go karting side.
There's a lot of Burtons.
Yes. We go hang out with them all the
That's
time.
Pretty cool.
But they do the same thing usually at Brownstown. All right, so you've got this establishment
on
dirt, and your dad just randomly runs into Willie Mullins and says,
well, not even that.
Let's do a test.
Not even that. It gets more. So, before the dirt, I've been racing since 2011. I started out in go-karts, and they're at the Speedrome, which is a flat 5th mile. I mean, almost has negative banking. Like, that's how flat it is. And they're like 3.5, 4-ish horsepower flat carts. Not flat carts, but like go-karts would have a cage around them and just floor it. Like, you never lift, never hit the brake. We go about 55, 65 miles an hour, which as like a 9, 10-year-old is pretty sketchy. And then when I was 12 years old, I actually ran stock cars. I ran a 1977 Ford Thunderbird against like 40, 50-year-old thick grown men. And I wasn't really too successful with that because that was my first transition from go-karts into...
At 12, you're barely reaching the pedals.
Yes. Well, the first ever race, I got in trouble because I couldn't see over the dash. So I was like hitting the wall, like hitting other cars. And we had to come in and put pillows, and I think we put a phone book and some hoodies under my seat. So I could barely, we had like a 2x4 tape to the gas pedal.
Very, very official equipment.
Yes, very SFI rated all, I'm sure. Yes. And I got a lot of experience during those years. And then after that, I kind of moved down a little bit we were going to run Outlaw Figure 8 late models, which if anyone listening or anyone watching at home, the Figure 8 is basically, imagine a course but in the shape of an 8. And you got to think, well, they meet in the middle.
There's an intersection.
And there's a literal intersection where you have to like bob and weave through, 15, 20, 25 plus cars.
So this is the teaser video I posted this morning that you sent, and you are playing a game of chicken. Pretty much. Trying to not get T-boned.
We have 2,400 pound, $60,000 late models. Because these are like I haven't seen them in person. These are full blown outlaw. Some of them have like pneumatic IndyCar jacks. Like that's how like advanced some of these cars are. I mean, it's stupid amount of money we drive to go out here and play Frogger with cars, like it's stupid. And so I was originally moving on that because my dad, that's where my dad got started. He started working on figure 8 cars in the 80s and 90s. And then in the early 2000s, he decided he was tired of paying for everybody else's fun, and he was going to go race himself. So he got himself like a 1993 Mercury Topaz or some weird like that and went racing with it. And then a couple of years after that, he went figure 8 racing. That's pretty much where he ran most of his career. And so he had a couple figure 8 cars. We had some people driving for him, the figure 8 scene. And at 15 years old, I was going to move to figure 8. And actually, at 12 and 13, I ran figure 8 in the stock car. It's the stock division. It's actually called the Thunder Car division there at the Speedrome. I ran figure 8 2 or 3 times a year. So I'm 13 years old with 400 pound stock cars driving through an intersection, trying not to get killed while my mom's having a heart attack in the grandstands. So that was definitely exciting to watch.
And these guys have an endurance race. Like it's one of the longest running endurance. So you've got to do this for like 3 hours.
Yes. So when I did
you're making pit stops.
Yes. When I did it in stock car stuff, it was like 25, 30 laps, which was nothing. But the outlaw guys, they have, regular 50, 75, 100 lappers throughout the season. And this isn't like a once a month thing. This is every Saturday night they run. They have a full like 30 race championship. And, 2 weeks after the championship's over, they have they rolled a figure 8 3-hour endurance race. that typically pays 20, 25, 30,000 to win. And they have people from Maine, they have people from California, Washington.
If you win the race, the endurance, the entire year-long championship, you do that and you win the race, you can win $30,000, which is half of the cost of replacing the car that you've risked every night of the year.
You also get a really cool trophy. So the trophy,
motorsports is the dumbest.
It's like a 10-foot tall
use
trophy.
Of money on the planet. We all know that, right?
And second pays like $7,000 or $5,000. It's not that. So
it barely pays your fuel to tow from.
And there's normally, and they have about 45, 50-ish cars show up every year, and they will start every single one of them on a 5th mile figure eight. How they do that is they'll start 33. No, I'm sorry, not 33. This isn't the Indy 500. They'll start 24 or 26, depending on the year. They change it every year based off of time. And this upcoming year, they're making you have to race your way in. So they're taking like the top 12 on time, final 12. They have to race their way in. And as a car goes and gets destroyed, which is typically within the first 45 seconds, they'll send a brand new one right back out. So they'll have like 20, 30 guys.
So you don't want to start the race. You want to be the last guy into the race.
Well, not necessarily, because if a car gets a flat, they won't send a new one back out because you can fix that. But some of that's going to take time. This past year, I believe it took an hour and a half for the last alternate, as they call it, to go in. Well, here's the thing too. If you get your car fixed, you can go back out. So they might start with 24, but they might get up to like 30 cars running at one point. And that's when they get the parking lot 20 car wrecks.
And is it the number of laps completed?
Yes.
Is the win?
And there's normally the leaders are the top 3 are normally within 5 to 10 laps. I think this past year, me and Gavin went, and we fielded. I didn't race because I have some obligations we're working on.
Top 5, we're all going for it.
Yeah, like it was crazy.
Minutes left.
Yeah, it was crazy. So we had a car fielded in the field, and Gavin was on the pit crew.
You just got to project. You got to get loud. You got to get loud, and it's a directional mic. So if you're directly into it, you'll do better, Gavin.
Oh,
all right. So you go from outlaw renegade. Figure 8
I forgot that's where we started
racing
to Daytona
to an opportunity to test an ARCA car.
My dad said, my dad reached out to William. My dad had no idea who the Mullins were. I had no idea who the Mullins were. They had no idea who I was. I knew from them based off of TikTok. Dinah Mullins runs the TikTok page for the most part, and she posted videos all across 2021. Yeah, math is right. 2021, not this year, but the previous year of them working on the car and them down at the Daytona test. I'm like, man, that's really cool. And that's how I knew. I knew her from TikTok. Never talked to her, never commented on her videos for the most part, never interacted with her. And so my dad comes to my room at like 10 o'clock in the morning, waking me up, which, man, waking up at 10 o'clock, that's like crazy.
It's brutal for a teenager.
I know. And he's like, hey, what do you think about running the test? I'm like, it'd be cool. It's kind of late notice. I never thought I'd get to run at Daytona. And at the time, we were actually talking about going and running dirt, like full time on like a regional touring series. So we were like trying to get the funds and like allocate, funding here and here and here to go run dirt full time, like, with some of the bigger series. And so we were, kind of blindsided by this idea of the test. So I reached out to the Mullins. Or I go to their TikTok, I go to their Facebook page. And this, like I said, the test is January, I think it was 14th last year. This is like December 28th. So 2.5 weeks.
So this is just your dad's idea. He doesn't have a team or a place to go. He's just like, hey, we should do this.
Yes. And so he's like,
without an outlet for the idea.
No idea. No.
Just, I'm going to wake him up at 10 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, we should do this.
Yeah. So my dad, he looks at me, he's like, I see what he can figure out. So sure enough, I go to their Facebook page and
he assigns the task to you.
Yes, okay. Which is a terrible idea.
All right.
And so I go to Mullins' Facebook page, and sure enough, they're like, hey, we're looking for some drivers to come down to the Daytona test. And I'm like, well, look at this. And it was like a week and a half, 2.5 week old post. So I send Willie an email. I'm like, hey, Willie, my name's Brayton Laster. I explain the whole story that I just said. I drive dirt cars and some stock cars if you can't figure it.
And he doesn't immediately reply back, well, send me your check for $400,000 and we can do a test.
Well, he's like, I'm going to put you in contact with my wife. I'm like, perfect. And so Dinah emails me and she's kind of like, well, obviously this isn't a cheap sport. In the test, we're going to go through some expenses. Here's what it costs to come. And it was actually I'm not going to name a number, but it was a very cheap.
It was achievable.
Yes, very, very achievable. And, so we're like, okay, we can do this. We don't mind portioning this out of our dirt late model budget to go run at Daytona. I mean, it's Daytona. because we would have paid similar or close, probably like for like a Daytona driving or like a NASCAR racing experience type of thing. So, but this is like actual race type scenario where you get to go and you get to draft with other cars and you get to go 180 miles an hour. So we go down there to the test, and I don't think I've ever told this story before. So we had a team dinner the night before, because it's a Friday, Saturday. And we had a team dinner Thursday night.
How many other drivers are tested?
7. They had 2 cars. They had Willie's car and they had the car that I was in. And they had 7 drivers in the second car, I believe.
How many can grow facial hair?
Everyone but me.
Okay. All right.
So, I got a little bit of a mustache going on. I was looking in the mirror on the way here. I think I was actually, no, they had Cole Bruce. So Robert Bruce is the crew chief on the car. He helps Willie out a lot. And Robert's raced out in the Dominion and the East Coast for a long time. So is Cole in the late model series out there at Dominion. And so they brought him, and he did a couple laps of the test. But he's an absolutely like rizz master. This dude kills it with the ladies on the East Coast. I'm surprised there's any competition out there.
Zach, we're going to get back to the story of the team dinner. Check your notebook. What does rizz mean?
Oh, no idea.
Rizz is it's how to talk to girls.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Like this dude's my like idol, all right?
All right.
So this dude's like 17, 18 years old. And Gavin knows I have no idea how to talk to girls. It's bad.
Have you shown them a picture of you in your fire suit?
They normally run away when I do that. So
Zach Veach has famously been on the IndyCar driver, former IndyCar driver, but he would be in his fire suit on the Tinder all the time. All right, so team dinner the night before the test.
And so a majority of these guys, and with the Mullins, it's all late model stock type people from the East Coast, and they're all very familiar with the Mullins. They've raced against them on at Dominion or worked with them in some way, some shape, or form. And so they're all very comfortable. They all know each other. They all come from the same background. And here you got some goofy looking figure 8 dirt late model guy sitting at the end of the table, kind of like, "Hi guys, how's it going?" And I didn't really know what the figure 8 stuff was. And I pulled out a video of the Road to Figure 8 3-hour endurance race, like we were talking. And they sit there and they're watching it, and they were in awe for about an hour straight, just watching highlights of this. And they're like, "This is crazy. We can't believe we do this." And so I think I kind of got a little bit, I don't want to say respect, but I was a little more open armed because they thought, why is this kid here?
You have some credentials.
Yeah,
at
so
this point.
They're thinking, why is this kid here?
Did you guys hear Kenny Schrader on the Dale Jr. Download talking about his 65th birthday party and what he got to do? No. They invited him to Toledo Speedway to run figure 8s in a school bus.
I've done that. I've raced a school bus on figure 8.
And he said it pays $200 to start and an extra $100 if you flip the bus. That was the pay structure.
I've raced a school bus at Speedrome, like full size school.
And I think they gave a bonus if you flipped somebody else too. So they were going after you as well. It's kind of a demolition derby / school bus race. Right. So you've driven a school bus in a figure 8 race.
About won it, yeah. I started pole. I mean, this one dude.
How do you let somebody pass you?
Because they were cutting the corner. I kid you not. We went 5 wide.
Can't you just put the stop sign out and then it's 12 points?
It's illegal to cross. If you put the sign out, they can't pass you.
I'll try to find a video, but you got right. Speedrome is about 3.5 lanes wide, and we went 5 wide coming out of the corner on school buses. It was the most incredible thing the Indianapolis Speedrome has ever seen. It's the most spectacle thing.
Do you have a 5-point harness?
No.
No, I don't even think I saw the outlaw cards
I don't think we
go
had
5 wide.
I don't think that the outlaw late models maybe go 3-4
I think if they do that, they wreck.
Were you just in the bus seat with the seatbelt on?
Well, it had a cage.
Like how big of a cage?
It was. I'll give the credit because Speedrome provides all the buses. You just show up and be a wheelman. And here's the thing too. Only half these guys.
I love that we keep trying to talk about Daytona, but we're more fascinated with the figure 8 school bus race.
This computer, we're having internet issues with one of the computers. Otherwise, I'd pull sound because I instantly thought of the Tony Stewart Talladega rant.
Yes.
So in actuality, if you talk to somebody who's being very honest, Daytona, Talladega, and figure 8 racing are only about a quarter of a step off of each other.
They're going to wreck. It's just, you got to figure out when.
Yeah, it's just a matter of they're all going in the same direction. It's just the nature of, were you going in the right direction before you got turned sideways and then got T-boned, or were you both going in two different directions before you got T-boned? Yeah, but it doesn't. It's the result's the same. It's just so. Yeah, that was, and so if you haven't, after the show's over, get on YouTube and look up Tony Stewart Talladega rant, and you'll understand why these two tracks are very similar in some regard.
Well, here's what's funny.
So it's all the credentials. Okay, so do you have to do the test and then you get your NASCAR license, or do they just say anybody can have a NASCAR license? How does this happen? Do they have to chicken or the egg here?
So
you're 19 years old, can't grow a mustache, much like Jeff Gordon when he got there, but you can't grow a mustache yet, and they say he's this crazy kid from Indiana who races figure eights. Let's give him an ARCA car.
Well, not quite. So when I reached out to Dinah and first emailed her, she sent me like 18 pages of paperwork. And somewhere in that paperwork is a resume that to fill out every single track I've ever raced. How big it is, what type of surface is, what class, if I ran multiple classes at the same track, I got to put that down.
So you have to show that you've got some credentials.
If I can't just show up with a fire suit and a helmet and be like, yeehaw, let's go, brother.
If this was a Dinner with Racers episode, this is the part where they talk about falsifying their SCCA booklets, because there's a log in the
Boris
SCCA.
Just started looking at the
and
getting old catalogs. Oh yeah, I was in that race, and I was in that race, and I was in that race.
Yeah, all right. Believe it or not, ARCA does have an approval system.
All right.
Believe it or not, yes. So I had to fill all this out. And,
I've seen the Daytona and Talladega races, so I'm questioning it. All right.
Well, and that's just to get approval for the test. All right.
Okay.
And the test isn't the only way to get approved to actually race, but if you want to race at super speedway, you have to do the test. So we go down, we do the test, and like I said, there's like 6-7 guys in the second car that we're running. And it's actually the old primary car that Willie raced from like 2014 to 2018, something like that.
So these are old NASCAR Cup
This
cars.
is a Gen 4 Robert Yates chassis.
This is like what Ricky Rudd ran.
That's exactly what my car is.
2007 Daytona 500.
That's what my car is, a 2007 Ricky Rudd car.
So this is a nerd. I was at that race, and he was on the pole. The Yates cars had front row. In that Zach's scratching his head going, I don't believe you.
It was RYS 65 was the chassis number.
Yeah. I believe. So it was the Purina. It became the M&M's sponsorship, but it went from over there. But yeah, they had the M&M's car, and they had there was a brown one and a yellow
Snickers. Car. Was it the Snickers car?
Snickers, yes. It was the brown Snickers 88 and 38.
That would have been Rudd's car, and then Elliott Sadler would have been the 38 then.
See, you know what? I tried to name the storm last week. I said it was Elliott Sadler. That's why I tried to name it after, because I was like, it's not going to be that impressive.
It was awesome bill.
Yeah, we ended up with a dusting of snow and a bunch of horrible wind. Still,
it destroyed an airline.
They did that.
All right, so you had Ricky Rudd's 2007 pole-winning car.
I think,
and this is
don't quote me
for the purposes of Boss Hog of Liberty tonight. It was Ricky Rudd's pole-winning car for Doug Yates, Robert Yates Racing. And you are given there's really no keys, but you are given you're at the
push
helm.
Button.
Yes. You get to flip the switches.
Well, do
you even know how to operate the switches in a stock car at this
point?
There's
a lot of switches. I mean, like the Dirt Late model. So we got, I'm going to go off the track again here for a quick minute. We got a new Dirt Late model, this, new to us. It's like a 2014 chassis. That's our new dirt car. It's an 8-year-old car, by the way. And we got it race ready pretty much. It had like 5 toggle switches in it. It took me 3 days to figure out how to turn it on. I'm like over here flipping stuff. There's lights lined up. It's got LEDs in it. It's got LEDs.
It's like Zach trying to start his new excursion.
It's terrible. The cars are getting too fancy. So I hop in and there's like 8 switches, for different fans and this and that. And I was the last driver of the rotation to go. And so
now when you're doing an ARCA test, I'm assuming they did not seat fit you. You're getting into.
Well, here's the great thing. Big Willie or Willie Mullins, they call him Big Willie. There's a reason they call him Big Willie, and that's because he's a little above average. Perfect for me because I'm also a little bit above average. Everyone else here looks like Gavin, 5'5" and 100.
5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing.
Yeah.
Rudy, you typecast as Rudy.
There's a lot of foam in the seat when you get there.
Yes. For everyone else, for the most part. And like I said, I was last in the rotation because I'm tall, so they have to raise the steering wheel and this and that. And so they have to go and adjust the whole cockpit for me to do a quick 20, 30-minute adjustments. I hop in and I'd talk to all the drivers I'd gotten in and gotten out because it was also their first time at Daytona for the most part, actually turning laps. And the way they ARCA does it's an open track, so they can go in and out anytime, and they won't restrict who to draft or who to work with. They just ask you to be smart about it. But if you're doing a single car run, they ask you to limit it to 10 laps. If you're in the draft, you can go however long you want. Just don't be stupid about it.
Right. But if you're doing a single car run, theoretically you're taped up and you're trying to run by yourself, and you're qualifying sim. So
the first time you go out, just kind of get seat time, get a feel for the track, get used to the bumps. They call, there's a joke on iRacing. 2000, so they repaved Daytona in 2008, or the 2010s.
Use your mic.
They repaved it in 2010.
Thank you. But they call it 08 Daytona. So basically, like the old version of Daytona, super bumpy. Everyone calls it bumpy Daytona. Daytona 2022 Daytona is one of the bumpy. It feels like I-465 out here. All right, like it's terrible.
A lot of humps, a lot of bumps.
And Talladega, we'll get to Talladega in a little bit. That's even worse than Daytona. I don't know how the Cup guys do it for 500 miles. I mean, it's crazy. So I got there. I get used to the bumps.
So you've done laps in iRacing at this point, I assume.
Oh yes, yeah. Hundreds.
Your high school time is spent on iRacing, getting laps. So you have a concept of the track from there.
And this is also up to this point, I'd never been in Daytona. I've never been to a NASCAR race to watch.
You are fish out of water, not knowing who the hell anybody is.
Yes, and like this is my first time. I've been to IMS one time before this too. So that for as far as seeing a big track and a big facility, we spent the first day down there. We got there like Wednesday night, just driving around the track. And there's an airport there too. I didn't know there was an airport.
The backstretch is an airport.
And we went to a cell phone waiting lot and just looked at it. And I'm like, dude, this place is huge. I'm like, I couldn't believe I was going to be on that track. So we go out there, do 10 lap single car run. Take it easy, get used to it. And I was holding the steering wheel like I'm about to die, And I realized about 5 laps in that my hand was about to fall off from holding on to the steering wheel. So I had to loosen up a little bit. And they're talking to me over the radio. And 10 laps, easy peasy, lemon breezy, squeezy, teasy. Come back in. And they're like, all right, we're going to take a little break here, and then they're going to go back out. That way we don't have to.
You're going to all cycle back through, or it's zero time?
They're going to start me the next time because they have to adjust the cockpit for everybody.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, perfect. And here we go.
Any concept of how your lap times are or how you're doing compared to the rest of the...
So they had 67 drivers, I think. They had a high 60s. Yeah, so they normally have like, because there's multiple cars, about 30, 40 cars, give or take. And like us, like the Mullins, multiple teams have multiple drivers. So there's like 60, 70 drivers down there. And a lot of them are in the draft. I think we're like 45th or something. And like it's funny because all the other drivers that went, we were all within a tenth of each other.
Yeah, so you are, I assume, comparing yourself to the other people driving your car,
yes.
or to people that are running Mullins cars.
Yes,
that's your category. So
at the time, Willie was like top 10 with his car, and everyone in our car, we were around like 40th to 50th. And we were very happy with that. And so take a little lunch break, kind of rehydrate, talk to Robert Bruce a little bit, and everyone else kind of see what they're feeling. And we go back out, and the plan was to do a single car run. But if we get in the draft, we're going to send it. And we go out, and who's the 60 car, the Lyra car? Who is it? Williams? Josh Williams?
Yeah, Josh Williams probably would have been in the car.
So
Michael Lyra probably would have been in the car.
I believe it was Lyra and Misakura.
Oh, yeah.
So it's Josh Williams Motorsports, or Robert Josh Williams team. They have 2 cars there. They're solid black cars, and they have duct tape numbers on them. Somehow they end up coming out behind me. I think there was a 4th car too. So we got a 4-car pack going.
They have duct taped numbers on the side of the car?
Yes.
It's just a test car.
It's a test.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Well, we did too. We had a vinyl 3, but every time we had a different driver in the car, we had to change transponders and we had to put a duct tape like A, B, C, D, E for who was in the car. So we get in this like 4-car pack, and I'm leading this pack, and I have no idea. And here's the thing too, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Neither does anybody behind you.
Michael Lyra, I think, had raced.
Michael Lyra probably in that group
was the
most
experienced. Logan Misakura's her
that was her first time in a stock car.
And I forget who the 4th person was, but they were only with us for a couple laps. So like this is a cold-blooded true rookies. It's go or blow time, I guess, And
are you? What's going through your mind? Just okay, let's have fun. Are you scared shitless?
Yeah, pretty much scared. Yeah.
Are you listening for every tire, worried that
Well,
because as you send it off into turn 3, you've got to be going
160.
Yeah, just thinking. Oof.
And so we're sitting here, I'm leading this pack, and I'm just hammered down the whole time. And the thing with the ARCA car, because it's a 2014 composite body, so it's based off the 2014 Fusion Camry and the SS.
The Holden SS.
It's such a weird...
It's a weird combination of cars. It's like you went back in time in NASCAR. So you can't really make bumper-to-bumper contact. There's like a little air pocket that gets between the back bumper and the front bumper. So you can't really bump draft unless someone really checks up or someone gets a really big run. And you can tell, I'm looking at the RPMs. I noticed my RPMs
just ticking up.
Are about like 50 to 100 RPMs higher, which doesn't sound like a lot, but at these speeds, that's, a couple, 5-10 miles an hour faster. Here's the thing too, the ARCA cars, they have an Ilmor motor in it, which is what the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series platform is actually based off of. So it's a truck motor, and they're at 700 horsepower, which is more than the Cup cars. It just
they're running like
them.
500.
Yeah, they restrict them so much though, and so I'm just scared senseless. I'm just hanging on for dear life, and about after 2-3 laps, I'm like, I don't know why I'm scared. I mean, I'm leading the pack. No one's gonna make contact with me, so I loosen up. And it was from that point on, I'm like, all right, this is easy. And I think we went like 25th on the time chart. So we were like, we killed it. I'm like, this is awesome. Which for the second time ever at Daytona, 25th on the time charts, I'm like, this is cool. So I come in, we do like 8-9 laps or whatever. They pull in, I pull in, and everyone else goes out and over the afternoon. And we went out a third time, and like second lap, a spark plug wire came loose, and I started panicking because I noticed we dropped revs like a lot, and luckily it was coming off of turn 4, and I pulled right back in. Got that fixed in no time. It was pretty much perfect after that. And at the end of the first day, William Mullins goes out in his car, and there's about a 20-car group that gets together. Half of these guys are rookies, half of them are the experienced people, and everyone's sitting there holding their breaths. Because we have spotters and whatnot, and the second car, we were not on track, thankfully, during this. And we're on all our haulers here in pit lane, kind of, it's like the garage area, and watching this 20-car pack. And they were like 3-4 wide at some point.
Here's a test. Are they running cameras? Is there a track feed? Or is it just transponder?
There's transponder timing.
So I know that they have transponder.
Right.
I've never been down to the test. I'll be down there in a couple weeks, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's any video of it.
Unless it's like someone with like their phone.
Yeah.
Right.
So the only thing that you'll probably see from it is like
an onboard
social media
camera.
stuff.
Somebody threw in a car.
Well, actually, you're not even allowed to run onboard cameras. That's a sad thing.
Really?
Because
All right.
we really wanted to run a GoPro, but.
Right.
So there's this 20-car pack, and obviously they pretty much take up the entire time slot from like 1st through like 19th.
Yep.
Actually, a car got spun too. I don't know if I ever told you that. Have you heard? But I forget who it was. Someone got spun on the apron going down the back.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and someone about ate the most hellacious crud that I've ever seen at Daytona.
I want to say it was Doza.
After 8 o'clock, you can say anything you want.
Oh, there we go.
You're good to go.
Yeah, it's happy hour.
Those are the rules of
I want to
of
say
the
it was
podcast
Brian
here.
Doza that
I
got
want to
turned.
say so too. Like, dude just got turned, and like you see big pile of smoke down the back stretch.
So your test is done
for the day one.
for day one. All right.
So
And Willie says what to you?
Well, if Robert comes in, or after I come in after the third run, Robert goes up to my dad. He's like, I'll give the kid credit. Kid's got what it takes. He's like, most people kind of go out there, they're a little bit scared. I'm sitting here listening to this conversation. I'm like, well, I was scared. And he's like, most people, they lift in the corners. They're unsteady with the wheel. And after a couple of laps, I was pretty steady. I was hanging on the yellow line. And that was a big thing. I wanted to stay on the yellow line. And there's a couple of videos, too, I believe on Facebook, you can go, when I was with that 4-car pack, they're all kind of like, they're snake-tailing. I was holding it steady on the yellow line. And going back and watching that, I'm like, man, this is kind of cool. I almost look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we wake up at like 7.
And this is your experience in iRacing, I assume, is
Pretty
where you're
much.
feeling your
Yeah.
comfort factor's coming from?
Yeah, and the fact that I'm at Daytona, I have a thing for speed. I like going fast. And
Imagine that.
I know, right? That's my hook. I love going fast. Most kids my age, they're out here vaping, doing drugs or stupid stuff like that. Gang stuff. I like going fast, so that's my thing. And once I go fast, I can get relaxed. That's when we're in danger there. So we get about 7:30 the next morning, whatever. Go back to the track, and it's like bright and early, and we just run a couple, 10-car runs, and we got with a really good pack. I have no idea who it was with. All I remember was we're zooming, we're hauling, and we're going to the front. It was like 5, 6 of us or whatever in this pack here, and We went 22nd on the board. And that's both days. Sorry, that was both days.
Yep.
So I'd gotten knocked down to like 40th or something after the end of the first day. So overall, we were like 22nd.
So of 67 cars out there, you're top 25. So you've
And the top 19 times are from that 20 car pack
Right.
the day before. So
you've proven that you're pretty competent.
I'm like, this is cool. So we go, they do their rotations, and we go to a Bowie at the end of the night and dine. And I'm like, hey, if you guys can think of a number for the race, like what it would take to kind of, what do you have to put together to come, run the race here? And because obviously,
you don't start the negotiation with, what are you going to pay me?
Yeah, we're talking about ARCA here,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, they're like, yeah, we'll get back to on it, because they didn't really think anybody would really want to do the race or whatnot. And we'd gotten the approval that afternoon on the second day of the test. And, Joe Wells, I believe, is the competition director for ARCA, comes down and says, hey, all the guys are approved. You're good to go. We're like, awesome.
So that means you've got your ARCA race license. Is that for Daytona and Talladega only, or you're
everything.
just anything?
I can go run Watkins Glen if I want.
Jesus.
So,
okay. All right.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. I know what I'm doing next year. So,
They got guardrails there.
They've got Armco there.
Yeah.
I'd hate
Brayton,
it.
you got to turn right there. You know that.
From the
right?
You ever see my
60s.
figure eight racing?
Yeah, he turns left and right more than most of them.
Yeah. So I really want to run the dirt ARC, because ARCA runs dirt twice a year. So I'm approved for everything. We're like, awesome. And they put a number out there. And at first we were kind of like, oh man, that's rough. Because it's a business thing, for the Mullins.
They've got to pay for the car,
Yes.
and it's got to make sense for them to run the
Yes.
car.
And so we're like,
And it's a family operated team. It's
Fair.
not a charity.
So you got to think, up until they said something, Willie's done he's done a handful of races, Daytona, Talladega, and Elko most of the time. And it's just been his entry. So before Brayton and them wanted to actually make that run for it, they had just been a one-car team, basically.
so this was the first time they were ever talking about bringing two cars to the track.
Yep.
And
But it's in their interest to bring a team car, right?
Yes.
You get
'Cause
more
you got a
data, you've
dancing
got more
partner.
people. Right. Yeah, you've got somebody to draft with. It helps Willie perform. It's all of that's
it's
good.
a team effort. And so, we go and we're like, all right, we got a month, because, this is like January 15th, 16th at this point. And mid-February is, Speedweeks. We're like, we got a month. And we start dialing for dollars. We're calling everybody, that we can think of. And we're selling. And I don't know if you guys follow NASCAR Twitter a lot, but there's a Twitter page called Bad NASCAR Schemes. And they put pictures of bad NASCAR schemes out there. And 2 days ago,
paint schemes.
We'll use bad with air quotes here, because
And
half the time it's just to pull in views.
yeah, and they put my car up there 2 days ago. And the reason I guess people said they put in, because of all the tiny stickers on it. Because we had probably 25 like mom and pop shops like on there, and that's what we had to do. We had to go to, we can't go to Pepsi, we can't go to Coke, we can't go to DeWalt, Milwaukee, we can't go to Mobile One, we can't.
All right,
go to,
be good drivers. Tell me who some of your sponsors were for your first Daytona run.
So yes, we had a lot of mom and pop shops. We had USA Insulation, actually out of Greenfield here. We're not Greenfield or Newcastle, but close to Greenfield. We had Edco Welding Fabrication. We had Indy Auto Recyclers, Junk Car Blaster, Image 13, Auto Repair Event stickers. We had we had One Way Auto Parts. We had
how many pizza shops?
Bugsies.
How many pizza
we
shops?
had Bugsies. We had Core Wing Recycling. And over the Mullins, they helped us out there. That's Dinah's gang.
How many pizza shops?
Believe it or not, none. That was
None?
a sad thing. We reached out to probably 4 dozen like pizza places, and they're like, "Oh, sorry." Well, here's the thing: the timing too.
Because your Twitter account is the One Pizza Man.
Yes, and my Instagram is the one on the Pizza Man.
The
and my
one.
TikTok used to be that Pizza Man, but now it's Brayton Laster. I like pizza. If you couldn't tell.
All right,
Have you seen my helmet?
but you haven't got any pizza sponsors.
No, I just
right.
really
I
like
told
pizza.
him he needs to either go to Pizza King or Mozzie's.
We're working on it.
Yeah, Mancino's, anybody.
I passed Mancino's on the way here. Look good.
Yeah.
You really?
If you go to Muncie,
Oh, I
have you
guess
ever been to
it is.
Muncie?
I have no idea where that's at.
Muncie's just north of here. It's where Ball State is.
That's where I'm going to go to college.
Muncie, you can't go more than 3 blocks without a Pizza King. There's like 20 of them in
There's
town.
like 12 or legit 12 or 13 in that area.
think I have to transfer colleges.
Gavin should have the goal, because I should have done this when I was at Ball State, of trying to hit all the Pizza Kings before you graduate.
I want to go to every Pizza King in the state of Indiana.
We should do that over the summer.
See, here's the thing.
There's
though.
two.
We've
There's
discussed
2 versions.
this. There's 2 different versions.
There's
in
phones and
Central
trains.
Indiana, we have the good stuff. The phones, yeah. The trains ones are garbage.
See, I've never seen a train one. Because all the ones in Richmond are phones.
Yeah, you need to go west.
Oh, you've got one.
You need to go
the
to the west
nicest
side.
one. Richmond has
Clara's?
Claire's is the next level.
Clara's is great.
That's a.
Welcome to Pizza King chat, everybody.
Okay. There's no, seriously though, it's like there's a Pizza King in Richmond that the inside of it, although it's not Pizza King, it's a Claire's. The inside of it is nicer than almost any other restaurant you'll eat at in potentially the state of Indiana.
There's a double-decker bus you can eat on.
Yeah, but the woodwork in there is fantastic.
Have you seen my helmet?
I've not seen your helmet.
Oh, Gavin, you've done failed me.
You should have brought it.
Oh my
Could
Lord!
have thrown it on the table.
I could have.
All right, so you run, you raise the money, you find the people, and you get to run at Daytona.
Yes. Killed it.
How many cars start the race? 40, 35, 40 cars?
37, 8, 38.
So that race was actually the biggest field that they had in a long time. I believe 38 cars started the race.
So 38 cars.
Qualified 17th. So here's the thing with ARCA. Group qualifying.
Oh, that's weird.
6 cars at a time, and it's randomly drawn.
So it's like road course qualifying.
Yes, it's ARCA's the only series that does group qualifying.
And do you get a few minutes on track?
You get 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you're trying to draft each other.
Well, here's the thing. You sit there, and like I said, ARCA has its Omar motor platform, but they also have something called the Legacy motor. It's the old SB2s, the old K&N motors. You can do like home built.
His pizza, his helmet, it looks like the Firestone Firehawk, but it is pepperoni pizza.
My son would love that helmet.
All over his helmet.
My son would love that helmet.
So obviously the Omar motor is the way to go. If you don't run the Omar motor, you'll be about out horsepowered by 100 horsepower. So there's about 5 to 8 cars, I'd say, that don't run the Omar, and they run their own race. They're in 4 seconds slower.
They're in the 2012 Indy 500 Lotus class.
Like they are in. Like they're like 4 to 5 seconds slower in the draft than the race. So they typically run their own race. And with this random, so it's
that's nice and safe.
So yes,
until you get the leaders coming around.
Yeah.
They just park it on the bottom. That's the thing with them. They just park it on the bottom and hope you can go around them.
That's class racing.
Sports car racing at 170 miles an hour.
But once again, realize that the resumes are diverse and thin in ARCA, right? Mm-hmm. You've got.
There's only so many old people.
Do you know who Bobby Gerhardt is?
I do know.
Bobby Gerhardt's like the Daytona.
So there's only so many Bobby Gerhardts out there and Frank Kimmels that have run every race for decades.
You either have like new up and coming drivers out there for experience, or you have people that are 70 years old that just do it for a hobby.
Yeah, that have done it forever.
Yeah. And so it's luck of the draw too with qualifying. So it's me, Christian Rose, who's a total rookie. In ARCA. This is his first ever start. By the way, I've ran Mount Lawn, I've ran Auburndale down in Florida. I've ran a lot of bigger tracks, but I've never
Mount Lawn.
Yes, I ran Sierra. I ran the Raintree 100.
That's
in 2019. Here. I know. Yeah.
All right. Oh, you said you never ran to Newcastle, so he's
slept on the way here.
He's showing his resume.
He doesn't have to get to Newcastle.
He thinks it's near Kennard. He doesn't know.
I don't know where anything is. I just sleep the whole way there. I wake up and we're at the track.
Wakes up and he's at Mount Lawn.
So Mount Lawn, and actually Auburndale is a big track, but I ran the figure 8 there. But as far as the asphalt track goes, before the Daytona test, I'd never been on an asphalt track bigger than a 0.3 mile. So we're going from 0.3
So you're going from Mount Lawn to Daytona.
Pretty much. So from
the Brayton Laster story.
Yeah, dirt to Daytona, that's what we like to call it. I ran dirt.
What was the highest banking you'd run?
On dirt, we ran Florence, which is like 34 degrees banking.
Okay. So similar.
On asphalt, though, like -4.
You've never run Winchester. You've never run Salem. You've never run any of the high banked asphalt tracks around here. All right. So you qualified 17th. Yep. You've got.
Which we actually should have been higher because, like I said, we were doing the group random draw qualifying. We had 2 of these slower motored cars.
And you got terrible choices, terrible options.
We have 2 rookies. I forget who that was.
He's a real race car driver. He blames everybody else. If he's not fast enough, it's not his fault.
Con Nicolopoulos.
So, like Con would have been running on a legacy motor, so he was out of the question. Christian Rose finished 5 races out of the 13 he did throughout the entire year this year.
So do they pull the fastest cars out of the group, or do they line you up based on your ranking in the group and then the group within the field?
It's just wherever your time falls.
So just wherever it doesn't matter.
So if someone in a group goes P1, everyone else goes like 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, then you go P1, everyone else goes 8th, 9th. And so we do the second group out, and we have this most ragtag group of goofy, odd-looking guys. And we're sitting here I'm not going to lie, I was kind of taken aback because I look over, I see the 3 main, Max Gutierrez, that's who the 4th driver was in that group. I see Christian Rose. I'm not to call him out here, but I see Christian Rose, Michael Lear, and Max Lear as the three main people in our group here, all talking. And I'm just sitting here like looking aside, like I guess I got left out of the conversation. And I walk up to the group. I'm not going to be hanged out to dry here. I don't want to start in the back. So I kind of put my arm around the shoulders, like, hey guys, how's it going?
What are we doing?
This is my first time ever talking to these people, by the way. Probably had no idea who I was. That's probably why they didn't find me. They had no idea what I looked like. And Michael actually came up to me after the fact. But they're like, here's a plan. And they were trying to figure out the gearing, because you kind of have different gearing for who's in front, who's in the back. And we're, all right, this guy's going to be up front. You're going to be in the back. This guy's second. And we're going to line up on pit road. But we got past this guy on pit road, and we have this whole great plan. Like, we're about to invade Normandy, right? Go out on pit road. Instantly, the guy who's supposed to be in the front's in the back.
Second, I'm sure it all goes to hell.
I was supposed to be in the back. I'm somehow leading this pack out of pit road. No, that's a lie. That's Talladega that happened. I was supposed to be up front. I'm sorry. I was supposed to be up front. And I'm somehow in the tail end of the pack, about like 80 car lengths behind. I don't know how I got left behind.
That's where you got your big draft.
And so, exactly, I get a huge draft the first lap, kill it the second lap, and we actually, out of the 12 cars I'd qualified to that point, we went P2 by 1/100th of a second behind Doza. And
by getting just a mondo draft from the back.
Stupid draft. And actually the times were within half a tenth of each other for our group. That's typically the guys who qualified with you'd start next to, because their times are pretty similar. It was that extra little bit that helped me, though, that got me in front of those guys. So I qualified 17th, and actually had a couple wrecks during qualifying, which I do every year. Actually, Big Willie, he went like 7, wasn't it? It was
somewhere in the top
10. It was somewhere. We had a great qualifying run, but he got wrecked on pit road. So they have all these guys go in the back. I ended up starting 15th. And this is where the rookie mistakes come in. So, I know how to drive a manual transmission, except I just don't. I've driven one before. It's normally in a front-wheel drive at the Speedrome, and we go first gear, second gear. That's it. I'm not used to man, that sounded really good. And, so I'm not used to having to go through the gears. And, I did it in practice and all that. And in the dirt cars, we have 2 speeds, so I'm not really used to that. And I'm sitting here pacing. I'm like, man, I go from first, I go to what I thought was second. A little foreshadowing in there. I'm like, man, my revs look pretty low. I'm a little concerned. I think we're about to blow a motor. So we do 2-3 pace laps. We come down pit road to set pace speed. And that's what I do. The pace car goes 60 miles an hour. And then their spotter's like, all right, we're going on pace speed. And then they're like, all right, look at my tach. I'm like, all right, second gear, 2200 RPM. And I'm doing math in my head. I'm like, this isn't right. I'm like, something is terribly wrong.
So you're 2204th.
So we hit that.
You're setting yourself to speed on pit road the entire every lap.
Pretty much. So we hit the green flag. I hit the gas. And it's like a grandma being a 1984 Buick Century in the far left lane on 465 during rush hour traffic.
Trying to get run over.
With these cars passing me left and right. And part of the thing is in ARCA, you can't go below the line, and you can't pass somebody before the start-finish line. So entire outside line just flies by me, like 8 deep. And I go from 15th to 27th in about 150 feet.
Did you lose the draft?
Well,
did that cause 2 drafts?
Well, here's what's funny.
Or did you mercifully have a quick yellow?
I held up the entire inside line. So the 9 cars that were 27th to like 38th were all in the entire inside line that got stuck behind me. Yeah. So we're like 9 deep at the green flag, bump drafting each other. And I was talking to Dinah after the race. She thought that I was about to die, and she's going to come down there, pull me out of the car, and kill me herself if I didn't die in that crash right there. If I caused one. God bless her heart. If I said soul, I said whole. God bless her heart.
So Andrew Bowman, he's a patron, so his questions go to the top of the list. He wants to know, why do only about 6 drivers finish at a race like Daytona?
Because the other 30 are all 75 years old and get tired halfway through. Probably. Here's the thing. ARCA actually has great finishes. There's normally not a lead pack, though. And you have a huge disparity in cars, and you have a huge disparity in experience, I'd say. So we'll talk about this here in a little bit. But my Talladega wreck, 7 cars. 8 cars, 7 cars.
So this is where I want to introduce Gavin to the story.
Gavin's an ARCA expert. You know every statistic there is to know.
So Gavin, I've gotten to know because he's been involved in the IndyCar world, but you also do a lot of livery design.
Yeah.
If we're open wheel guys, paint scheme design. If you have a hauler and not a transporter, you got hooked up. Did you win a contest?
So yeah, I basically won a contest.
You won a contest
with one of the drivers.
Yeah.
And it was a full expenses paid to go down there, see the car on track, get the design on the track.
So okay, I've never raced, but I have been involved with the horse industry, the show quarter horses and barrel racers and all this stuff. And if you're an exhibitor, you just lose money like crazy, and you pay money to be there. But if you're an announcer, or if you're a ring steward or a judge, or you're in the industry, people pay you to be there. So you have chosen the appropriate thing of getting all your expenses paid, and you show up and you're a paid consultant, and they pay for you to come to the track where Brayton has to pay to go. Yeah. Right? You've already figured this out. You're a senior in high school, and you've figured this part out. You're getting paid to design a race car,
man.
and go to Talladega. All right. So you've designed this car. It is your masterpiece.
Yep.
And they fly you to Talladega.
I forgot how we got here. How did we get to the Talladega?
So yeah, this was my first car on track that I had ever had actually out. And so, yeah, I got to go down there and then show up to the track.
You don't know who Brayton is at this point?
I have no clue who Brayton Laster is.
No, I've no idea who Gavin Newton is.
I've looked at the entry list, of course, just to see my car on there.
Yep.
But, so get there that Saturday. And
so you are a Make-A-Wish kid with your race car on the track.
Basically.
Right. All right.
Basically, so I get there Saturday, get my credentials, meet the driver, and see it in person for the first time. And this is like the holy grail to me. Like,
yeah,
I see it, and it's just golden. And so seeing that was like, oh my goodness. So
and this is on FS1, I assume. It was on major television.
Yep.
800,000 viewers for Daytona last year.
So car does okay.
So
for a while.
Yeah. So actually, because Talladega didn't have qualifying, so they started that off of owners' points
from last year.
So the car was the number 10 for Hillenberg, and that car does every single race. So it was pretty high up in points. I think it started 6th because one of the Venturini cars wrecked during qualifying, and actually that car kind of comes into the story later. But so start 6th, and he was talking about the gearing. They had the gearing all messed up in this car. So right off the start, it's dropping back.
Looks like the 4th gear on Daytona.
Yeah, so it probably ran about 15th the entire race, and then they get the halfway caution. And now the halfway caution kind of reset everybody, got them bunched back up. And so they get going. I'm standing in the pit box. It was me and my dad. We went down there, so it was a small team, so there wasn't a big fancy box to sit on. So we're just standing behind the box watching the race, and we got the big jumbotron behind us. So when we see them coming along the front stretch, we'll watch them. When they're not, we turn around and watch it on the board. So I see my car with one of the cars that had been lifting the entire race. And if you know anything about a plate track, you're supposed to be on the throttle most of the time, not really lifting a ton. So, one of my friends had texted me, and he was like, "Hey, they're saying that this driver is lifting all the time." I was like, "Oh God, my car's beside this one now." And I turned to my dad the lap before the accident. I say, "We're gonna get wrecked." So coming off of 4 that lap, going through,
Bazinga.
I'm looking out, and so I can see the entry of pit road to the track. And I can see the entire grass.
Because this crash happens in the tri-oval.
It happens entering the tri-oval. So all of a sudden, I see my car up in the air.
It's flying,
like coming, like I'm standing
Dukes
in
of
the
Hazzard
pit box,
dumping over like that,
and I can see out, and I see an orange car spinning around this way, and I see my car going up like this and hit the grass, and just grass going everywhere, and then. I'm like in shock at this point, and I still look out and I see this other car spin onto the track and just get hammered. And so that was actually probably the bigger part of the wreck, and not really.
Was it coming back out on track? And
my car, yeah. So because that guy got aired out, he broke his leg and had to be flown out of the track.
Fracture, yeah. Dude,
so that's how my first race.
That's your first race, and where do you come into that story?
So I was sitting here Sunday cruising, right?
You're not lifting.
Not lifting, no. I'm on the outside. I'm hauling a mail. I'm ripping the lip, And we'll go back to Daytona. Daytona finish is pretty crazy, too. Because that whole second half of the race was a fiasco. We'll get back to that. So we're at Talladega. I'm in the high line. And like you said, we started on owner's points. I think we had, 35 cars? 36?
Yeah, that one.
I started 34th.
I think it was 36.
So you started at the back of the pack.
Dead
no
back.
points because it's not a car that runs.
It's the 03 car, and it's owned by the number is owned by Alex Club, car fielded by Willie Mullins. Because that way Willie didn't have to buy a second owner's license, and Alex didn't ran at all.
I think he ran like one race the year prior, but
it's not got enough to give you any points.
No, I'm starting dead that.
Because he ran for Richmond.
So everyone behind me is either a brand new car or someone that wrecked in qualifying. And not going to name it. But anyway, so there's a couple guys behind me. I started like 30, like first or 32nd, something like that, because everyone had to go to the back for wrecks. And here's the thing. We had 5 minutes of practice. We didn't have qualifying. We had 5 minutes of practice. Random group practice. We went, I think, I want to be like 15th. We were like 15th in practice.
You guys weren't bad.
Willie went P1 in practice. I went 15th for
Willie's your team owner. He's got a lot more experience with this.
And a lot newer car, too. 20-year-old newer car.
It's your very first time at Talladega.
And here's the thing. It's not like Daytona had to test. I knew what the track felt like. For Talladega, it was to go out here, find the bumps, and embrace them. And there's a bump that feels like
it's a little bit longer track, much wider track, and an old ass surface.
Yes, and they've repaved it going into 3 down to about 300-foot stretch on the back stretch. They have the tunnel, and they've repaved it, and it feels like a 3-foot gap. It's like 5-6 inches. You hit it, and you jump up, and then you hit the end of it and you drop down. And I'm like, this is crazy. And we're sitting here. And I got hanged out to dry. There were multiple cautions early on. I was like, I'd pick off a car 2 at a time, and we get a caution, car 2 at a time. I make my way up inside like 20th to 25th. And we somehow lost the lead draft because we had a 20-lap green flag run. Because ARCA we don't have stages, but we have a competition caution at the halfway mark. And I believe we were at 38, was 38 or 40?
Yeah, it was something like that.
It was right around that 40 mark. We had a comp caution.
Are you tired at this point? Halfway through the race, or you're totally clean?
I'm clean. I'm ready to go. I got water. I got pancakes. Well, I wanted pancakes, but I didn't have pancakes.
Okay.
And so we like lap 25, we had a restart, and me, Richie Garvey, the car he designed, John Garrett, who's Richie Garvey's teammate, and Eric Cardell, who's an older gentleman, a lot of experience, was behind me. So we have this 4-car pack. Oh, first, and Willie's, okay, we have a 5-car pack. Willie's in this pack. Here's how dominant, when I talk about the difference in cars, here's how dominant Willie's car is, okay? We're in this 5-car pack. Willie is like, I think Willie's behind us.
Willie's at the tail end of this.
My spotter comes across the radio and says, hey, Willie's pulling out of this pack. Because we tried to pass him outside, or I tried to pass him outside. Couldn't get it. So I hear Willie's popping out of the pack. Go with him. So I look around my mirror, and I kind of see some orange moving around back there. I see Willie move out. I hop up behind him. Dude drives away. I can't catch. I'm flooring it. I can't stay with him. So I hop back in the pack. Dude passes his 4-car pack. Like it's a Daytona prototype against a GTE. See, I know IMSA. I'm smart. And dude passes us, goes and catches another 3-car pack by himself. That's like 4 seconds ahead. Drives around them like they're holding the brakes. Catches the tail end of the lead pack and just sits there. That's how dominant. One, really has a ton of experience there, the super speedways, and 2, how dominant those newer super speedway type cars are.
So that part makes a difference. So tell me, get me to this crash where you finally intersect with
a person,
Gavin's car.
So we're sitting here, Sunday cruising outside, turn 4. We're lap 48 because Gavin loves Jimmie Johnson, big 48 fan, and we're coming around to start 49. And I got my arm back. I'm Sunday cruising, I'm chilling,
just making laps.
Pretty much. I wasn't ready to go yet. We still had 30 laps in the race, so I'm not going to push it. But I was 15th. I'm in the tail end of the lead pack, and I'm like, I want to be the tail end of the pack. It was a wreck in front of me.
Yeah, you're in the conversation. You're where you want to be.
Yes. And all of a sudden, I'm coming out of 4, and I'm looking at the inside wall. There's no clue, but there's no sign, no warning. And the next thing I know is I'm facing backwards, waving at people as they're going by. I'm rolling backwards about 165 miles an hour. That's probably the sketchiest thing I've ever done. Okay?
So your car just turned.
Yes, I just got hooked. I just got left hooked and the full 180. So now I'm rolling backwards, and I felt something. I heard like and I felt something.
Had you ever crashed a car at the speed? Like anything to compare this to?
No, 185. We were going about 185 when I got turned. And I feel.
Are you responsible for crash damage?
No.
Okay. All right.
Thankfully. So I get back around to where I'm doing another 180. Now I'm actually pointing the right way, and we hit the grass. And Eric Caudell, who I mentioned previously, was in this 5-car pack. He's also the tail end of this pack. He misses the wreck, but he goes through the grass to avoid it. And so he goes through the grass first, and it just puts up a cloud of dust. His car goes over me. I didn't know his car went over me. When I said I felt that, that's how it sounded too. It was like, I didn't even know a car went over me until like 45 minutes after the fact when I saw the replay. So his car's hit the grass. It's destroyed the grass. And so all you see is dust. And I vaguely know where I'm at on track. And I feel the car kind of shift a little bit this way. And I feel myself rolling back up the track, driver's side exposed. I knew there were about 15 or so cars coming in behind us. I'm like, I'm about to die right here. I'm like, it was nice knowing you guys. And it's funny because I just went to go mic up before I wrecked. To say, hey, I'm on Sunday Cruise here. So I get wrecked, and it's like, Arr!
So you're on the button.
I'm on the button the whole time. That way everyone gets the full experience. I have a recording of it, too. It's on my TikTok, at Brayton Laster. And it just sounds like I'm crying. And I roll up the track. I realize I'm not about to get hit. I only rolled up about a lane and a half. And at this time, I'm like...
Are you convincing yourself you need to hold the brake?
Well... I'm hitting the grass and going 160. The brake doesn't do much, but I'm holding it. I'm also playing. I'm like gassing and braking it because I'm doing like 360s kind of. So I'm like Jimmie Johnson at Dover in 2007.
Thanks.
Same difference. And like I'm gassing and braking it. Although the first hit, the battery's right behind the driver's seat. Or somewhere in the left rear. So it disconnected the battery. I didn't have any power to the car. I couldn't tell at the time because all I saw was grass in the cockpit. And so I'm gassing and braking it, roll about a lane and a half up on the track, and I roll down, do another 180, and come to a stop facing the grandstands about 15 feet off the track there, right before like the middle of the tri-oval. And I'm looking around. I try to fire the car up, and they had an in-car camera on me too. Have you seen the wreck?
Yes, I saw it. I saw when it happened. So I was following because I was Gavin's fanboy, very excited for him.
So I had the in-car camera on, and you can see me try to start the car up. And I'm talking on the radio. I'm like, it won't start up. Like, all right, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Exactly like that. And past 8 o'clock, so we're good. and I get made fun of because I put down TikTok, like I said, and it sounds like I'm doing something I'm not. And
yeah, but you know what? You got to run a stock car at Talladega, so everybody can get over it.
So,
all right. So walk me through the finish at Daytona. We interrupted that to get to how you and Gavin got to interact.
Yeah.
How does this how do you finish top 10 at Daytona or 13th?
13th. Yeah. So
we'll round up.
Start of the race goes terrible. I fall back to 27th. And we actually were in the lead pack, but what it did was the entire outside lane all got to the bottom. And we go back on the replay of the broadcast and looked like, man, we got single file quick. Well, no wonder some, boozah in the 15th spot there, he fell back and gave the whole outside line a hole to drop down. So we went single file going to turn 2 pretty much. Like, except the top, 5 or 6 rows, everybody single file on the inside. Actually, we did lose the lead draft. I do remember that. But we were far enough back where we kind of had it. If we really wanted to push, we could go. But it was super long race, and we were going to push it, 200 miles. And there's a 5-6 car wreck, something like that.
So did you complete all the laps?
Yes.
That's all you can do. Rookie, that's all you could do,
yes,
right?
We were the highest finishing debut driver. So for the driver that made his ARCA Menard Series debut that race, we were the highest finishing driver. And
tell me, do they make you shop at Menards now?
I should. I shop there anyways a lot. So we didn't lose the lead draft, or we kind of didn't. Cautions come and go. Didn't speed on pit road. Don't know how, because miracle. And it's like we got a caution with 30. We had a comp caution at 40. We had a caution at 32. All the leaders go in and pit. We went in and pit with them. Comp caution comes out. Everyone that pits, about 25 pitted on 32. They stay out. Because you don't have to pit on the competition caution. It's recommended. And the reason the comp caution is there, because the ARCA cars only have about enough fuel for 37 to 38 laps. So these guys are on the bubble. So we come in at the comp caution, we pit, we go back to the tail, and we get like a 20 lap green flag, around a caution around 60 or so. We get about a 20 lap green flag run to end it. And we somehow lose the lead draft by 4 seconds. So it's the top 7-car breakaway in the lead draft. And there's about 8 or 9 of us in the second pack, about 4 or 5 seconds back. And when I say we got our stuff together, I mean we got our stuff together. We made up 5 seconds in what, 6 laps?
Yeah, it was something.
I mean, we were honked because these guys are too wide.
Ran them down.
Like we're like bump drafting in ARCA. This is like people are getting ready to watch the most horrific wreck they've ever seen because it's ARCA and we're bump drafting. And Dale Quarterly, I gotta give a good shout at Dale Quarterly, motocross driver, MotoGP, and runs road courses in Daytona, in ARCA. Dude's like 56 years old, I think. Tons of experience, though. I met up with him months after the fact, and he basically said he was the one that put together this whole pack. And I was like second or third in this pack because Dale Quarterly got behind me, and we were like 2-3 wide trying to sort this out for like 15th. And he started beating the crud out of me to get me to go. And somehow it's me, him, and a couple other guys leading this 9-car charge to the front. And we caught them, and we're like 2 wide now with 10 to go. And I'm like, all right, we're dropping the hammer. It's go time. This is my debut. I ain't got nothing to lose. You know, I'm just a small town kid.
Now you're thinking, I want to win Daytona.
Yes, I want top 10.
I'm going to beat somebody. 10. All right.
And I'm like, this is, we didn't have Talladega. We had nothing lined up for Talladega at this point. This, as far in my mind, this was my one shot. And I was, this was my one bullet in the chamber. And I was not about to fire a dud. That was a great saying right there. And so we're going. And about 4 to go, one of the leaders run out of gas. And we're like, oh my Lord.
Who was it? I don't remember.
So they're running out of fuel, and you've stopped on the competition caution. So you guys feel
so there's
good.
like 2 or 3 of us.
You're gonna make it.
There's like 2 or 3 of us, and they throw caution for the guys to run out of fuel. We're like, you gotta be kidding us. And some guys in the back start running out too. So we're like, oh man. And the leaders are reporting that they're losing fuel pressure. And we get a green-white at the same time. So not a green-white checkered. We get a green-white flag at the same time. And it was because I was running top 10. And it was a really bad momentum shift because the guy that ran out, I think, was on the outside. I was on the outside. So he moves out of line. Whole outside line lost momentum. So I got past a bunch on the inside. So we restarted like 15th, 17th or something. Right back where we were. Yeah. Where we started. After 198, 197.5 miles. And we're right back where we were. And like, man, that sucks. But I'm hoping people start running out here. And they're like, I'd be on the toes because if they just run out, all hell is about to break loose. And we're going, and we get single file really quick coming out of 2. And I'm running. I made up 3 spots on the restart. I get on the inside, and all of a sudden I see Drew Dollar be like Drew Dollar. And you guys don't know who Drew Dollar is. Good thing his name is Dollar because this dude goes through some dollar bills and the amount of stuff that he tears up. This dude is like the laughing stock of ARCA with how much his dad owns like some financial company.
He's got the money to pay for it.
Has the most hellacious wreck I've ever seen happen in front of me. Dude gets right hooked right into the wall, 185 miles an hour. Dude starts coming back down the track right in front of me. I go through the grass going into turn 3 to avoid him. Get back up on the track, brought it home 13th, not a scratch on it. And then we went back to Daytona, or we went back to Talladega 2 months later.
You got torn up.
A little bit more than a scratch.
More than a scratch.
That one wasn't your fault. All right, so I want to get to this year, but one more real quickly. You did get to make a start as well in the truck series.
I forgot about this. You already halfway through the paper.
You went to Knoxville, Iowa,
yep.
And you have dirt history, so this makes sense now. Yeah. So somehow you've negotiated yourself into a truck series ride to run.
I'm
at
pretty
Knoxville.
Sweet talker, yeah.
Yeah.
And well, it's kind of funny. We're going backtrack real quick backtrack here because I want
we got to get here before the sun comes up.
So of the 7 people that tested with Le Mans at Daytona, one of them was Brad Perez, one of them was Blake Lothian, and one was me. All 3 of us made their truck debut for the exact same team. For Brayon Brothers Racing. And Brad's a road course guy. He did the road course stuff. Blake's a short track guy. He did the short track stuff. And ironically, I somehow got to do Knoxville. And we just kind of sweet talked our way into that. We were able to put together, like I said, a lot of mom and pop shop deals for that. And with that, it was something different that I've ever done because the trucks, 650 horsepower, like the Elmore, but they, or 700, but they bog them down or they restrict them a lot. Truck arm rear end. The way rear end set up, and they're like 32, 2800. They're a lot heavier than a dirt late model. So a lot less power, completely different rear end, and they weigh a lot more than anything I'm used to on dirt. So basically, I had to take everything I knew from dirt and throw it out the window.
How technical are you? Do you understand? When you get in the car, do you know what springs and shocks and setup you have in the vehicle? Or
if it's like the dirt stuff, I actually have a pretty good idea for the most part.
Okay.
Well, if it's like the truck stuff, because, truck teams in Mooresville, I'm in Indianapolis, so obviously I can't work on it.
Right.
But for the most part, I try to talk to them, figure out what's what, what's this.
Kind of a throwback, though, to understanding what's actually under your car, because a lot of the latest generation shows up, knows how to drive, but has no idea what the hell.
See, I'm the opposite. I have no idea how to drive. I just know how it works.
But you're showing up telling us the technical details of how the rear end of the vehicle set up, which is very different than I think you'd see with a lot of other drivers.
And see, part of the problem is that they're talking me. I love a loose track. I love a rubber down track because it brings more of the driver out. So we set it up to be tight. That way it could actually turn on a loose track a little bit, but not turn too much. And go out and practice, and we have some driver comfort issues because I'm a big guy and these trucks have some tiny compartments.
Parts of you starting to turn purple?
Kind of that. So the steering wheel we had way too big of a steering wheel in there. And I couldn't turn the way I wanted to. So I ended up running with a go-kart, like a 12-inch steering wheel. So we go from like a 15, 16-inch steering wheel to like a 12, 13-inch, like tiny steering wheel. So that completely changes the way it's steering because the steering's a lot quicker.
Yep.
And so I went out and practiced. We were like 32nd or something. They had 38 trucks, I believe. 2 went home. And
so you have the pressure. You have to qualify.
Yes, we have to qualify our way in. And here's the thing with Knoxville: you race your way in.
They do passing points at Knoxville.
That's a good thing. Do passing points, and that's a new concept for me because we don't do passing points, and it's a random draw for our heat races too. And I had a owner's provisional. We needed it, but it wasn't a guarantee, depending who made the show, who didn't make the show. And luckily, I started dead last in the first qualifying race. So that means
you have the opportunity to pass people and get points.
Exactly. And so if I passed, we did the math. If I passed one guy, I got past one individual, I'm in the show pretty much. I'll be or I'll be first in line for an owner's provisional. So past one guy and we're good. And it's Norm Benning. Probably one of the most.
Norm Benning's 80 years old.
But probably one of the most iconic dirt truck guys in NASCAR truck history, I'd say.
That's the one in front of you.
Yes.
Probably like the most iconic back marker possible when it comes to the truck series.
And like this dude's run races for probably
Norm Benning was running Cup Series and Busch Series races when I was 10 years old.
So this guy is like, he's got the experience.
He's 70. He's 70. He's not 80. He's only 70 years old.
And I'm like, I gotta beat Norm. I hate this guy. I love Norm. He's like kind of my idol.
Oh, he can pass somebody too.
He's the easiest one to pass. And there's a lot of like high dollar names. And also my teammates in this race too. So now we're like kind of like hoes because I can't pass my teammate because I knocked him out. But if I can, I'm going to go for it. So green flag comes out. Norm gets the jump. And I fall like 5, 6, 7 truck lengths back. And I'm like, and it's a 10-lap heat race. It's a quick heat race. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to wait on an owner's provisional. I'm not going. I don't want to. I want to decide my fate here. So I made up and like I noticed Norm kept getting tighter and tighter. He kept washing up the track. And about 3 to go, I caught up to him. And I waited behind him. Lap and a half later, he washes up going to 3. I just drive underneath him. Say hasta la vista, baby, and never saw him again.
Maybe Norm did you a favor. He said, "This kid, I see something in this kid. We're gonna help him out."
I don't know, something. And so we started 31st, last car to make it in without a provisional, which I'm proud of. No provisional needed. And we weren't, because like I said, we just had it set for late in the race. And so we got lapped early on, had to get the lucky dog, got back on the lap, got lapped again. But they kept doing track prep during every stage break. And they didn't tell us they were going to do track prep.
So the track is changing.
But then the track never got to like the dry slick that we expected it to. Because in the year before, track got dry slick in like 85 laps. This year they're doing track prep every 50 laps. And they're just hosing us. Because they didn't say they were going to do it. I mean, they were tearing up the track. They're, get tractor with like the crawl thingy. I forget that technical term.
They basically disc it up and then flat and roll it again.
Yes, like they're completely tearing it up.
Yeah.
Like full on track prep. And they got like 8 tractors out here, and then we're like, well, this ruins everything. So I went out there, ran in like the back of the field,
And you can't adjust your way out of that. Your settings kind of baked in at that point.
Kind of, because the way we had the rear end set up and the way we had the shock, we can't go change the shock and string. We knew we can take some out with the track bar in the rear, but it's not ideal.
Normally, if you have a longer dirt race, the dirt will pack in real tight and it'll actually rubber in.
It'll be more like an asphalt surface.
Yeah, it'll start. Yeah, looking more like asphalt. It'll be shiny.
That's what we're hoping. It's going to go dry.
So if they're turning it every time you guys are getting a break, then that's never going to happen.
And so, like when I said this thing was like driving a bus. Like I've driven the school bus I raced turned better than this thing. And like we were slow.
So how'd you finish?
27th. No, I scratch on it.
There you go.
So
you brought it home.
Yep. Not scratch on it.
All right, so let's talk about Speedweeks. You've got another test coming up.
We do in like 2.5 weeks.
And then February, I don't know what is
18th, 14th, 18th,
18th. The race day.
So this is why I have Gavin here.
Yep.
So
I think Gavin is your PR guy.
He could be.
I think you need to put him in charge of PR and marketing for you.
I'm officially graphic designs.
So he does all graphical work.
He showed up with a polo on, so I mean he's most of the way there.
Yeah, I
made him pay for that. No, I'm kidding.
He needs a pair of black slacks.
I think you need to put Gavin in charge of your PR when you go to Daytona, and just see where he gets you.
Well, I need him to take videos too, because I have like no videos.
He's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of staff work.
He can do it.
Completely unpaid, I'm sure, this year. But you get to go to Daytona.
We're paying his way to Daytona, so
shoot,
very true.
It's better than high school. An internship.
We're fortunate doctors. No, don't. No one. No one go tattling on us.
Most of motorsports is based on a con, and it's, you just homeschooled that week. All right, so tell me about the sponsors on your car this year. You've got a unique opportunity where you're raising money for a homelessness charity.
Yes.
This is what got my attention this week. So this is a family-operated charity?
Yeah, actually, it's something that we put together ourselves.
All right. How do people participate? How do they get involved? Because what this has is it's an opportunity for somebody to get their name on your race car
for $1.
For up to as little as $1, just like joining our Patreon. Name your price. You can get on this race car. And be in Speedweeks in February.
On a real NASCAR, yes. So Drive for Humanity is the name of it. You can go to our website, driveforhumanity.org. That's drive and then the word for and then humanity.org. And there's a donate button at the top. And any and all donations will go towards helping the homeless or those in need. And our main target audience is the Indianapolis metropolitan area. Because I work on the south side, I live on the south side, and driving around downtown, it's become a problem. And the government doesn't really want to do anything about it. So someone's got to step in. And for the past, 8-9 years, every winter we've gone down and, gotten pizzas or cheeseburgers and hats and gloves and hand warmers and like propane, like the little cylinders and handing them out to, the homeless and those in need. Because it's sad. And somebody's got you talk and hear their stories. And so all the funds will go towards helping those, whether it just be, hey, here's $20 to buy yourself a meal, or buying hand warmers, gloves, hats. You can donate items too. There's an email or a contact us form if you want to donate items. You can do that too. But anyone that donates minimum of $1, we've had people upwards of $50, $100, $150. They get their name on our actual ARCA car for Daytona race.
So now Gavin has to type all of these names in.
That is 100% accurate.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Onto the car. So that it can get print screened on, I assume. You're not going to use your new vinyl kit you got for Christmas.
I don't have the printer. I don't have the printer for it.
All right.
That's at the school.
If we make it a decent enough donation, can we get the Boss Hog Liberty logo on the car?
We can. I'll talk to you about that after.
The old yellow Boss Hog? Because it runs the Silver Crown dirt car with Kyle Robbins.
I have no idea. Sorry.
Okay. We only talked about it at Patreon. Yeah. We'll see what we can do. It would be fun. All right, so that's how the charity side works, and anybody can jump on the website and put their name on the side of the car.
Big black donate button. It says donate. You click it, and it's through Square. So I believe it take PayPal, credit card, debit card, Venmo. I think it's a way that you can do it. So yeah, we get like 98%. Like Square and the banks take their.
They're gonna take their cut. All right. Any other sponsors that are helping pay for it? Because I know we have a lot of politicians on, and I make them shamelessly promote their campaigns and how to work. Doing the same with race car drivers. Who else is helping get this car on the track? What are the other numbers and people?
Huge thanks to the Mullins first. I got shout out the team because they provided me with awesome car. Like, I've talked to Gavin about it. This thing's gonna be a speed demon.
I say you give him like an 80% chance to win this race.
Like, this thing is an absolute unit of a car. It's the same car I drove last year, brand new Mustang body, because ARCA just approved the Mustang body. So
this is Ricky Red's Mustang now.
Yes. So
this is the Snickers Ford.
A huge shout out to
it's
the
like the midlife crisis car for Ricky Red.
Like, it really is. Auto repair VIN stickers, they've helped me out. Across, the whole board with Knoxville. Patrick Fabrication in St. Louis, they helped us out with Knoxville. They're helping us out. Bugsy's, the Mullen, that's Mullen's thing. Crow Wing, Dinah's family, they help us out too. The whole car. Auto repair VIN stickers, like I said. Auto Recyclers, Image 13 Photography. Gavin, with all the graphical work, we got B-Blaze Vintage coming on board. We have the SSRL iRacing League coming on board. We have Live Leads Custom Diecast, which is makes custom 164s. We have USA Insulation. We have Edco Welding Fabrication coming back. We have a lot of people. We got Jimmie's Diner back on board, which is a mom and pop shop there on Shelby Street on the southeast side. If you're ever on the southeast side of Indianapolis, Jimmie's Diner, give it a try. They support racers, so we like to support them a lot.
I used to work at Shelby and Troy on the south side.
That's exactly where it's at too.
Yeah, Hagen's was right there too. There's a Church's Chicken on the corner.
Yep, literally the next block south of.
Yep. I used to work right there.
That's kind of funny.
In another era.
Back.
I was back there about I was in college. So 07, 08, somewhere in there. 06, somewhere 2000.
Back in my day.
Yeah, way back early. Gavin was in diapers. You got Carvana on the car? Gavin's got a guy who he's become very good friends with.
Come on, Gavin. You've been holding back on us?
I don't know if we want to get Carvana on the car.
I think you should act quick.
You're not going to get much out of him. That's squeezing juice out of a turnip.
Listen,
right
we'd
there.
be better off getting Ally on the car at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Chevy thing, isn't it? Don't they do that? Kind of.
We can make it.
We can work. We'll put like a bow tie.
We'll put a bow tie on the nose of the Ford.
We got a lot of returning people. We got a lot of new people. I covered most of it. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry deeply. We've had like 8 people in the past 3 days.
That's amazing.
That's not so. That's pretty cool. We've had a lot of people reach out that want to put their face on the car, like
the old me,
like a 2x2 of their face.
See, and you got to think about all this stuff. I got to put this on there somehow.
And you need to
make it look good too.
And make it look good.
And need to get an award for having it look terrible again.
I know.
This is
but with that Twitter account, the guy posted that, and that dude got dragged on Twitter hard. Like, people were like dogging him, like, man, don't diss pizza man, don't, like, that's a pizza man. You've gone too far now.
All right, so tell me, Gavin, you've done a fantastic job of networking, because you were one of the reasons you came into IndyCar is you followed Jimmie Johnson.
Yep.
You're a Jimmie Johnson fan, and you went all in the last 2 years with Jimmie Johnson and being his top fan in the IndyCar series, to the point that you made your own clothes.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
So, I don't know for everybody out there who's seen it. So there's a commercial where Jimmie Johnson had this bedazzled Carvana jacket, and I talked around to a couple people and asked if they were actually things, and at that point they weren't. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go buy a cheap denim jacket. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to get some glue-on sequins.
Had you ever done something like this before in your life?
Absolutely not. I am not, like...
You're not artistic?
No.
There's hot glue. Is that what it is?
So, basically, they make glue specific to gluing things onto clothes. So,
don't tell them all.
I printed out a Gavana. It had the Carvana circle logo with the car on it, and I changed the text to Gavana. Printed it out, took a Sharpie, and soaked it into the back.
Gavana or Carvana?
Gavana. So,
because you got to promote yourself.
I glued on every single sequin on there and wore it to the Indy GP. It got soaked that day. It got it
was a deluge of a race.
So, some of the sequins fell off of it, and I ended up being invited to a special Carvana thing that Thursday after the race.
So you had to remake it?
So I spent like 3 hours at night. I think I worked from like midnight to like 2 a.m, and I had school the next day. And I just worked on re-gluing all these sequins to it so that I would have it.
Does anybody in high school know what you're going through?
No, I don't really have a ton of friends, to be honest.
It's a jacket.
So, well, like a lot of the people at my school don't really understand what I do,
right?
And I mean, understandably so. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing or what my life even is at this point. But I mean, I've tried to post stuff so that people can kind of understand it more,
right?
But no.
So you are hot gluing stuff before math class onto a jacket so that you can go be a guest of this multi-million-dollar race team and the sponsor back in preparation for the Indy 500.
Yeah, kind of.
In your Canadian tuxedo.
So I showed up that Saturday. They had a Jimmie Johnson meet and greet thing, and I wore the jacket to that. I didn't wear it that Thursday because I didn't have it done. So I wore it that Saturday because it was just a one-on-one thing.
Yeah.
And I had met him a couple years prior. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but I met him down at Kentucky. And my grandfather, who got me into racing and made me a Jimmie Johnson fan, had passed away 2 years before that. So I was able to tell him my story then. And he made a video for my late grandma. She was in the nursing home at that point, basically saying hello to her. So that's kind of where that connection was started. I had met him a month after and was going to meet him again in 2020 down at Miami. But obviously, COVID happened. So I had to wait until 21 and see him out at IMS. And then this year, him actually running the 500 allowed me to see him multiple times.
Yeah, that went well done.
So saw him that Saturday, and all of the employees there had these jackets, the actual Carvana ones, because they had them made. So they ended up taking a group picture, and I was talking to Jimmy's PR. And I was like, should I run over there in the picture?
Just get in it.
Should I go run over to the picture? And so I ran over into the picture, had it on the back, and so I was a part of the picture with that.
That is spectacular. And now you're a petty GMS guy. You're done with IndyCar.
And a Brayton Laster fan.
Here's the thing.
Well, now you're on Blaster. Is it Blaster Motorsports?
Blaster Motorsports. B Laster.
B Laster Motorsports is the.
Got a catch because we blast our way through the field.
All right.
So here's the thing. I don't really like the other petty GMS drivers. I'm gonna have to find a way to.
Yeah, I love Eric Jones.
I gotta find a way to, but
don't diss Matt Jones's boy. Is that what it is? Matt Jones? Chris Jones? What is it?
Ed Jones?
Ed Jones? Oh.
Different guy.
He's turned to buy.
Oh, I gotta give a shout out to Jesse Vaughn, by the way, in the chat. That's my Daytona spotter.
All right.
Dude was awesome last year. I think he's one reason we got that 13th place finish. Didn't have him at Talladega. Wrecked hellaciously at Talladega. So I think he's the key to success and failure there.
Do you get two spotters at Daytona?
No.
You only get one?
Yeah.
At Indy, you get two. That's a big track.
He was Roman Grosjean's spotter, too, in the 500. So this dude knows what he's doing.
To be fair, you can see across at Daytona.
Say,
Indianapolis, you got a freaking golf course and a pagoda. And
So I was at the 2007, and I know we need to start wrapping up here. I was at the 2007 Daytona 500. I'm an Indiana boy. Colts just won the Super Bowl. I'm wearing my Colts hoodie and shorts because I'm an Indiana guy. Very proud of the Colts winning the Super Bowl.
Never doing that again.
I stood at the top of Keech, which is the last grandstand heading into turn one. Top or second row. Wind whipped unbelievably. It's a night race. It turns into a night race. And this is where your car is running and starts on the pole. I've never been so cold in my life. It was 37 degrees in Florida with the wind whipping, and I'm standing out there in shorts watching that race. Great finish.
Did it rain that whole day?
No, but Kevin Harvick won. It was kind of crap. It was just crappy all day.
You can ignore the Bobby guy.
Kevin Harvick beat Mark Martin by just that much.
You can ignore
That's
him.
the first race I remember watching.
Yeah.
That's the king of Warzone. Right? When we were talking about Warzone earlier, Bobby, the GOAT, that's that Bobby there.
He's in the chat.
Yeah, he's going hard.
He really wants to know about a TV station. He really does.
He does.
Chat for like 2 hours.
I do apologize. I've had my chat off this entire time. I just now saw we had like 80 comments. So
are we missing some things?
No, not at all. We're fine.
Zach's in charge of moderating. So if there's anything we need to catch,
yeah. He told me to ignore him, so I'll ignore him. Although your spotter said that he hopes that I think that Gavin knows what he's getting into. Wear comfy shoes. We've been to IMS. You go to IMS and you wear comfy shoes.
I don't know how many days I was out at IMS this year. I skipped school, I think 4, maybe 5 days during the month of May.
I'm glad I didn't know you back then.
I'm like a 15 to 20,000 step a day person when I'm at IMS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually know Gavin until like June when he reached out to me because we ran an
when
iRace
when he sued you for damages to his race car.
Well, basically we ran an iRace together and he sent me a message afterwards. Was, hey man, I designed a car that flew over you. Do you have a minute to talk about it? And we've been
I would like
best
your
friends.
apology now. Yeah.
Also, another shout out. Sorry to shout out here, but people at NSP donated like a ton of money for our driveforhumanity.org campaign.
At NSP?
At NSP, that's a Facebook group called NASCAR. You can figure out what the S stands for. Posting. They're a great group of guys with a terrible sense of humor. I don't recommend checking it out.
So, well, we're talking about Facebook groups. I met Gavin, or no, I'm not Gavin through the Prude. I met Brayton through the Libertarian Party NASCAR caucus. So we're on the Wall Network, which is the We Are Libertarians Network, which is a bunch of libertarians that have turned against the Libertarian Party at this point because it's run off the rails. Long story. We call it the Wall Network. But I got added to the, we have there's the Wall Racing fans group on Facebook. We have all these different groups of people. But I got
what the libertarians love segmentation.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Just little mini caucuses and type of bigger caucuses.
They do best in a room of one because when two or more are gathered, we have a problem.
They're constantly working towards the one.
So I get added into this group and I'm like, okay, there's some guy is running for office whose father was a NASCAR driver in the 80s who's very entertaining. There's this fella named Reed Scott who put the group together. I have no idea how he found me or how I wound up in there, but I've been in there. Yeah. Andrew Bowman is in there, who's a patron of this show. So I'm like, I don't know who the hell Brayton is, but he's from Indiana.
I'm in here.
And he's in this group and he's promoting himself. And I said, this makes sense. We'll do it. So you're not a libertarian.
Well,
you're not really political.
I try not to be too political.
Right? I mean, you're obviously you're trying to earn sponsorships and choosing a party.
Like
that
I got my views.
10% of the vote is not exactly where you want to go.
Well, see, I voted for Donald Rainwater when he ran for governor.
Yes. Don Rainwater's been through here many times.
That's actually cool.
Yes.
So that was probably one of the few political races I actually kind of watched and hoped for the. See, I've always been an underdog in my racing career, so I kind of was rooting for the underdog in that one.
We hosted the Libertarian Party gubernatorial debate here between Don Rainwater and Bruce.
That's kind of cool.
Bill Levin.
We actually had it was like a 48 by like 64 sticker of Don Rainwater for governor on a figure 8 car.
There you go.
So it was.
All right, so you do have your libertarian chops. Mm-hmm. So you belong in the Facebook group that you got yourself into.
Yes.
Gavin comes from the homeland. We have more elected libertarians in Wayne County than anywhere else in the state. This is not trying to be overly political, just relating. So that's how I accidentally met you, and here we are going to Daytona. All right, let's work ourselves into final thoughts. Zach, do you want to try to explain this to Dakota next week as to what we did to a show?
Oh no,
I should come back next week. What's up, Dakota? Just walk in here.
Oh my gosh, he has no idea. He's like stick and ball, race car. I don't know. And he'll talk you into the ground about anything that he's interested in, and those things are not racing and they're not sports. What?
Does he like piano? I can bring
no.
Piano
I mean, although I had somebody from work ask me, and so I did check, and all of Dakota's chickens survived the weekend. Because they were very concerned about Dakota's chickens. But they all survived. I asked them about it specifically. But no, I don't have anything else. Just I'm glad it's not the computer here says it's 53. When I booted it up, it still said 20 or whatever from last week. So I'm glad that it's not going to be my car's not going to be frozen closed tomorrow.
Conditions have improved greatly.
Yeah. So everybody have a safe holiday and get an Uber or have a friend ready to drive you if you're going to drink.
Because you're going to have to eat after this, Kev.
I don't want to get wrecked by anybody.
I'm going to have you pick me up about 12:30 from the Elks Club.
I'll be running a 5K at that point. Catch me a little later and I could do it.
A lot of help you are. You're not going to pick anybody up.
Later.
All right, Brayton.
What's up? Oh, yes.
Promote yourself. How do they watch the race?
Hi, I'm Brayton Laster, professional race car driver.
He introduces himself
a lot.
That just all the time.
Actually, it's Brayton Laster, niche micro internet celebrity.
Yeah.
Is that how you introduce yourself to girls?
I don't talk to girls. So,
I'm telling you.
That you know what?
Fire suit.
Tell you what. The longer you wait to do that, the longer you'll be able to afford racing.
So you're telling me he needs to wear a fire suit anytime we go out to eat?
Going out to Denny's next week and wear a fire suit. You can find me on BraytonLaster.com. Facebook page is Brayton Laster Motorsports. Not Blaster Motorsports, but Brayton Laster Motorsports, a.k.a. Blaster Motorsports. I have a TikTok. That's where I post funny, goofy, y'all videos. Just hit 20,000 followers.
On the TikTok.
On the TikTokers, yes. That's excuse me, at Brayton Laster. And then I have a Twitter, which is Brayton Laster, or at the One Pizza Man. I have an Instagram at the One Only the Pizza Man. That's a 8th grade Instagram handle. I don't know how to change it.
Do you have the blue check mark for that yet?
No, man. I don't have any blue check marks. I'm about to pay $8 on Twitter to get one. And then you can watch us live at Daytona International Speedway, February 18th. I want to say at 1 p.m. Eastern. Give or take. It'll be there.
It's got to be before the Xfinity race.
On FS1. Make sure to be one of the 800,000 people tuning in to watch me win or end up in Lake Lloyd.
No, there is no or. It's just win.
And I'm going to jump in Lake Lloyd if I win.
All right, now,
quote, someone clip this. I'm jumping in Lake Lloyd if I win.
When you win.
Yes.
When you win.
Yes.
All right. Now, if you look around the room, there's a lot of really cool merchandise, and everything's got a story, and most things on the wall are from guests. Okay. So I'm going to need something off the race car when this is over.
Listen, we're hoping to not have anything off of the race car.
I mean, it can be sheet metal from the winning car. That's fine.
We got to keep that for Talladega.
Or it could be at the end of the year. I don't care what part of the Mustang it is. I don't care if it's a little hole punch piece out of it. Just a little something off the race car.
We'll figure something out.
All right, that's all we need. Because it'll be some nice. What's gone wrong? He's been silenced. Brayton.
Christy Avery's talking crap in the chat, I think.
Are you trying to be her next ex-husband?
How old is she?
She's old enough to know better.
Oh, no.
I will tell you, Christy is a major supporter of this show, and I would never reveal her age.
All right. But she's got... No, I was trying to say that. Never mind. We're good.
She's lovely.
She is lovely.
You would be lovely. You'd be doing very well.
Hi, Christy. Brayton Laster, professional race car driver. How's it going? I wear a fire suit too and everything. I got a NASCAR license. You want to see it?
Gavin, how's your rizz? How's your rizz game?
Do you actually get like a license? Do you have like?
You want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna need a picture of that.
Yes. Because that's one of those.
He's lost his license.
Have you ever gotten pulled over?
How much my wallet?
Have you ever pulled over?
Wallet? It's in the car. I'm hoping.
Send us a picture in the chat because I was curious. Do you actually get like an actual?
You do
license?
to get like a hard card. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten pulled over in a street car and handed them your racing license?
No, I haven't been pulled over since.
Christy says that you look a lot like her ex. Gavin, tell me, how did they follow you? The Runnings Racing organization, the iRacing. What do you want to promote?
Follow
you at Lincoln Track and Field for the spring sports season.
Yeah, I mean you can if you want. I don't know how much you'll be on there, but
you'll be playing hooky in Daytona.
Yeah, I know. My coaches are gonna love that. At Runnings Racing on Twitter. I also have the design account too. I don't really post a ton on there just because I got more of a following on the main. So I got that. I got LinkedIn. LinkedIn. I've got.
He's trying to be the promotional. He wants a career in this.
Are you going to say their AOL Instant Messenger
I've got
handle
more
next?
business from LinkedIn.
Yeah. Oh, I believe you.
It's insane. It's awesome.
I'm not sure it's going to come from this audience, but yes,
the people who write checks have LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah. I get it.
I have my portfolio. It's GA Newton at myportfolio.com. I have all my stuff on there. I always post it.
It's very impressive. How many liveries are you designing for Daytona this year?
So,
are you in negotiations with more than one?
I have overall. So for Daytona, I know I have at least one. For the year right now, I have 3 lined up that have already been announced. One for Zachary Tinkle, Alex Clubb's car for the year, and then Ryan Roulette in the West Series. Right now I'm working with a team to do their full set for the West Series. I got a couple other smaller, more local cars that I'm working on right now too.
That's spectacular.
And then
killing it.
I'm always
They're killing it.
I know, and I'm always working on trying to get some more.
How quickly are they going to make you move to North Carolina on us?
You could do that.
Probably not very. I gotta have money to move out there.
Well, see, that's the thing about graphical design. You can do it from the comfort of your own
I do
home.
it remotely.
All right.
Okay, I do have one question for Gavin real quick. So as a kid, favorite livery? Like if you pointed to a livery as like what's the best livery you've ever seen that you didn't design? What's
Can I guess
livery?
this? See how well I know.
Doesn't
Gavin?
matter any series, any.
Can I guess this?
Time frame.
You can go ahead.
I'm going to say the Jimmie Johnson Bristol Night one, 2019 or 20, whenever he retired.
Absolutely not.
Oh, man.
So my
The
favorite,
7-time,
Good old 7.
the 7-time
my
car.
favorite car growing up was one that I had a die cast of, and it's a one race car. It was a 2007 Jimmie Johnson Foundation Fontana car, and it was white in the front. It was basically the same base as that whole year, but it was white in the front, had the light blue on it. And I don't know what it was about that car. I just liked it. And I didn't get into really paying attention to design and stuff until, I guess, 3 years ago.
I've become like your biggest client in like 4 months.
Yeah, it's
Like the amount of stuff I have Gavin draw up is like stupid.
but I didn't get into graphic design until about 3 years ago.
Is it Adobe?
I didn't start off on Adobe. I started off on a school-issued Chromebook. I'm not even joking. We went home during COVID, and I downloaded a free program on there, and I started making iRacing cars,
That's awesome.
and just grew from there.
So for me, Zach, you've got your Jimmie Johnson favorite. Zach, do you have a favorite?
Oh man, I know. Ironically, if people pay attention to the show and know that I don't drink at all, Coors Light Silver Bullet liveries always looked amazing.
Buddy Lazier, Scott
And,
Dixon, or are we talking Sterling Marlin?
Even Sterling Marlin, like all of them, they all look great. And even like I like chrome and silver cars, so the McLaren Vodafone liveries were great, and the Dragon.
Brayton has no idea.
Yeah, the Sebastian Bourdais Dragon.
The Dragon
Racing,
car from 2011 is incredible.
Was amazing. Like a car that blinds you. I love them. So yeah.
So I was always a black and red, black and yellow cars. So like the old school Pennzoil, Rick Mears, and when Elio does the throwback, or the black and yellow, incredible. And then when they paint the helmet to match where it says Elio or any whatever name is on it, the black, yellow, and red is as sharp as it gets.
I can tell you what my favorite Indy car is. It's any of the 7-Eleven cars.
And the Tony Kanaan
That's
cars.
I love green.
Yeah.
Green's my favorite color. So
7-Eleven sponsored an IndyCar?
Yeah. They still do have an
they
associate.
sponsored Michael Andretti in 2003.
Yeah, they won the Indy 500 in 2002 with Paul Tracy.
Yeah.
That's the guy that can't drive NASCAR, right?
Debatable. Well, that's a story for another time.
And then Tony Kanaan was famous in that car as well. If you're talking stock car, since we've got Mr. NASCAR himself over here, the old Davey Allison, Ernie Irvin 28 car, Ricky Rudd drove it as well.
How do you not know?
You're driving the
yeah.
Durant.
Is that the Haviland
yeah,
car?
it's the
Texaco
Haviland car.
Haviland car, yeah.
The Texaco Haviland
Yeah.
car.
Which one? Is it the black one?
The black
or the one
the
with the gold on
the
it?
black and red. Not the gold one's earlier. That was like 1989,
Because that one's
or so.
nice too.
That was awesome. But yeah, the RYR, the car Davey won in, the car Ernie Irvin ran in, and the black and that's as good
That
as
one
it
ran
gets.
for a while.
It had pretty legendary.
They're still using.
time.
They're kind of still using that livery because if you see
Other people run it. Even Montoya ran a version
Tony
of it later.
Kanaan is kind of still running that livery
Down in Brazil.
Brazilian stock cars. It's
Yeah.
essentially
It must be their branding guidelines.
Yeah, it's a black car with the logo on the front. So yeah.
It kind of went away. Texaco, it became more of a Haviland car later for Ricky, but it was as good as they looked. And then you just like Rusty Wallace's Miller Genuine Draft car at the same time. That black too. This is great. All right. Anything else from you? We're in final thoughts. So we got your final thoughts. Anything else? You promoted it all. We got you covered.
Yeah, for the most part.
All right.
Can't think of anything.
Very excited that we got you guys here today. I enjoyed it.
Be back
I
next week.
appreciate it.
Dakota's probably still watching at home going, what the hell? Congratulations to all the new our new friends that are our friends who got elected to office and took the oath this week. And congratulations to those that have retired. Rick McCorkle, sheriff after 8 years. These are all friends of the show. People have been on. Chad Malacote, Peg Steffendell, and Ed Tarantino. They have all completed their terms, and they're free to go. And now the next generation of leadership has to pick it up.
The winds of change.
The winds of change. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll have this posted. I will be back next Thursday. This is the last show of 2022.
Honor to be here.
Yeah.
And then after I win Daytona, we'll come back on.
And you come back out here,
that's
and
what-
we'll you celebrate by swimming in Lake Lloyd?
I guess, yeah.
right.
That's what
That's
we're doing. I can't drink, so.
All right. Well, there we go.
Let's go.